contain strong language and may not be suitable for children. This content is primarily for adults as this is a trucking channel and truckers have filthy mouths. Please don't tweak if I say viewer discretion is advised.
Morning. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're at in the country. How's everybody doing? Make sure you come on and hit that like button. Not going to be on here long. This is going to be one of the quickie but goodies that I know a lot of people aren't going to tap into based on the title. But I'm going to actually give a lot of good information in this live stream. I'm going to actually give a roadmap for Black entrepreneurs. I mean, anybody can take this information and run with it, but primarily for Black entrepreneurs. Now, there's always a method to my madness, all right? There's always a method to my madness, and I do things for a reason. The live stream I did yesterday was done for a reason. I'm following that up with this live stream today. The title, everything for a reason. I know what the viewership is going to look like, right? Based on the way I title things, right? But I'm going to use this as a case study and I'm going to prove a point to you. And I'm going to show you that why people buy into the wrong things instead of the things that they should pay attention to, right? It's just like they say, you know what I'm saying? If you want to hide something from somebody, the best hiding place, especially for Black folks, is to put it in a book. Listen, you could write a check for $1 million and tell somebody, listen, it's a check in there for $1 million. They're going to look everywhere but the book, right? And this is the truth, right? So what I want to do this morning, and I'm gonna make it quick because I got some things to do. But this is something that I need to knock out while, you know, it's because I need to come right back with it after the live stream I did yesterday. There were some people that didn't take too kindly to the live stream yesterday, and I know that. That's why I did it. But let's get into it. So I got some bullet points that I want to talk about first. And this is going to be a roadmap, and this is going to be something that a lot of people can use, especially Black people. I want to focus on the Black community. There's a lot of people got taken advantage of. A lot of people continuously get taken advantage of. But during the pandemic, the biggest demographic of people that got taken advantage of were Black people. And guess what? They got taken advantage of from other Black people, right? A lot of Black people sold Black people dreams. A lot of Black people misled Black people. You feel what I'm saying? So I want to talk to Black people about educating themselves, how not to get misled, how to choose the right fields, and, you know, help them set their life up for success. So I got some bullet points that I typed up that I'm going to talk about. Some of them I'm going to just give you, and some of them I'm going to expound on because I want to kind of get through this. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is education, all right? I think education is something that's not promoted in the Black community as much as it should be, but it's important, all right? I always emphasize and tell people that your sharpest tool, your sharpest weapon is educating yourself. Educate yourself in general, and whatever it is that you're looking to get into, you need to really continuously educate yourself on it so that you can be good at it. You can be sharp at it. If it's something like trucking, right? You can have that edge and that leverage to outthink and outmaster the competition. When I get up here and I talk my mess, you know, it's based off my experience and also my education in business, you know, and this is key. I think the main reason I've been able to accomplish what I have accomplished in life, no matter what I enter into, is because I take the time and educate myself on it. One, I don't like to lose money, right? So if I'm going to dive into something, I want to make sure that I get a return on my investment. And the best way to do it is by educating myself on it, right? Now, not everybody is going to be a successful business person. Not everybody is going to be a successful entrepreneur, right? And I think, this whole, you know, entrepreneur has been, just plastered all over social media. That's driving a lot of people into entrepreneurship in different industries. I get it. You want to promote entrepreneurship, but let me keep it a buck with you. Not everybody's gonna win. It's not designed for everybody to win. It's not designed for everybody to win. Not everybody is going to be a successful entrepreneur. There's going to be failures. There's going to be more failures than people who succeed. If everybody was an entrepreneur, who's going to do the actual work? Who are the entrepreneurs going to employ if everyone's an entrepreneur? Who's going to do the blue collar jobs that we don't want to do already now? The vocational jobs that no one wants to do now. If everybody was a boss, where are we going to find workers? The system is not designed for everybody to win. Right? So first thing that people need to understand is that you have to realize, at some point, if entrepreneurship is good for you, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be honest with yourself. So what I want to do now, since I've said that, I want to give you some fields that if entrepreneurship doesn't work for you, that you can get into. I think a lot of people go to college and they major in the wrong things, and then they end up taking out student loans, and they end up not getting a job when they get out, right? If you do want to be an entrepreneur, the last thing that I would advise you to do is go to school for a business degree. I have a degree in business, and there's things that I remember from school, but I went to college in 98, right? So a lot of the courses that weren't the liberal study courses, the basic, your economics, your accounting, those, general study courses, they really don't hold precedence today, right? A lot of the courses that are offered now weren't offered then because technology wasn't where it's at today back then. They're offering coding and gaming and things that are more relevant to what we got going on today. Those things weren't off. I had to take international business, right? None of that stuff matters today. I think in hindsight, if I could go back and do things all over again, I wouldn't have wasted my OG's money. A lot of the stuff that I did acquire that I utilize today, I feel like I could have sought that information out back then from going to the library, using the encyclopedias, as far as real life scenario case studies. I could have went to the library and looked at microfilm. Some of y'all don't even know what I'm talking about because it's before your time. But I could have gathered all that information, by seeking it out on my own without having to go to school. I think going to school for a business degree in today's time is, you don't need to do it. If your ultimate goal is to go and be an entrepreneur, you can source all that basic business information online. I give a lot of information, right? But the information from a business perspective, right, that I give people for free, that I had to, my OG worked very hard to pay for me to get because I didn't have financial aid. A lot of people come and they watch them live streams and they click on and they click off, or they go say shit like, man, all that economic shit don't matter. And then I continuously prove to you that it does matter. Right? So you can source and do, there's plenty of lectures that you can watch online for free. MIT, a lot of these colleges give you these basic courses for free. Accounting 101, economics, introduction to economics, introduction to business. You can get all this stuff for free online. Most people ain't going to take the time because you rather go in and buy into something somebody's selling you that's misleading you. And that's why a lot of people are in the boat that they in today, which is why I'm doing this live stream that a lot of people ain't going to watch because it's too educational, but I'm going to drop a lot of good gems in it and you going to miss it. And then when I do a call-in show and you going to ask some questions or you going to say some shit that don't make sense, I'm going to revert you back to this live stream and you still not going to go watch it. But it's going to be there for you, right? Because somebody's going to pick up on it. So guess what? If you do want to go to college, you don't want to be an entrepreneur, there's courses and things that I do suggest that you major in. So you want to do something that's STEM. All right, science, technology, engineering, and math. All right, if you major in something that's STEM related, you'll be able to go out and get a job. All right, majoring in something like business, right? And then you get out of college, you don't have the resources to start a business directly. You got to go work a job. I'm gonna tell you where you're gonna end up working. You're gonna end up being a manager at Walmart. You're gonna end up being a manager at Ross. You're gonna end up being a manager at Target. Because when you look for jobs that are you're looking for a business major, it's usually in retail for store management. This is what you're gonna get. All right, so I would recommend you major in something that's STEM related: science, technology, engineering, and math. You're guaranteed to get a job. Or something else that's vocational based: plumbing, welding, carpentry, electrician, HVAC. Something that you can get an apprenticeship, learn a skilled trade, go out and get a job. Listen, auto mechanics. These jobs are open. Enrollment, right, in these apprenticeships today are down. Back in my day in the 90s, man, it was hard getting into these apprenticeships because everything was vocational based. I went to a vocational school here in Chicago. I went to CVS. They don't even call it CVS no more. It's called CVCA now. Back when I went, it was called Chicago Vocational High School. Now it's called Chicago Vocational Career Academy. They cut the vocation out of the schools. I know who's going to start taking these vocational jobs because the new generation doesn't want to do them. But here's the thing. A lot of those jobs pay very, very well. Like electricians make a lot of money. Plumbers make a lot of money. Listen, if I was 20-something years old, I would absolutely 100% come ride your toilet for $150, about $200 now. Yes, I would come ride your toilet for $200. Because that's a whoop, bam, thank you, ma'am. In and out in 10 minutes, I'm gone. And that's a quick 200. Because little man done flushed something down the toilet that, he shouldn't have. You in and out. You bringing one piece of equipment in. A damn a router that you going to put in the toilet, pump it, or the one that you turn, and you going to clear it out, and you gone. But you want to go, and if that's what you want to do, be a career gig worker, then that's fine. That's something that you do to supplement your income. They begging people to come do these vocational apprenticeships now. So if you do decide to go to school, major in something that's going to guarantee you employment when you get out. Something that's STEM related: science, technology, engineering, or math. If you don't want to go to college and you want to sign up for an apprenticeship with a trade, vocational, go get you a vocational apprenticeship. Become an electrician, a plumber, a mechanic, a carpenter, a welder. There's opportunities out here. It's just people invest into the wrong thing. So, all right, I don't want to spend too much time on that. All right, the next thing I want to kind of revert back to learning. All right, life is, you're always going to be educating yourself, right? I'm going to always emphasize educating yourself. Whenever you hear me do a live stream, I'm going to brag on that shit, right? Because this is how you're going to always beat the competition. Stay ahead. Listen, there's always going to be people that don't want to do what's in the best interest for them. They don't want to, listen, they free time, they want to go and do dumb shit. If you really want to be a successful entrepreneur and you want to win, it's your job to constantly educate yourself. In your free time, even when you're driving, to all these guys that's owner operators, listen, you need to be educating yourself. You driving OTR, listen to a podcast, an educational podcast. I mean, all that Breakfast Club, and that's all good and dandy. But man, you listen to people, Charlemagne, Envy, the guests that they have up, they all rich. You driving a truck, OTR, which you don't want to do. You hate it. It's miserable to you. So spend that time listening to something or listening to somebody that's giving you information that could take you farther. I get it. You're driving, you can't read. There's audiobooks. Listen to an audiobook. Listen to educational podcasts. Spend time educating yourself. You driving 10 hours a day. You got 10 hours to educate yourself simultaneously while you earning. There's no excuse, because guess what? Man over there that bought the course from Buddy, he ain't doing that. He's spending his time while he driving, complaining, frustrated on the phone with Keisha. He listened to Boss Man D-Lo, his 10 hours. So on the grand scheme of things, when you look at when you measure these two people 5-10 years down the line, who you think gonna succeed more? The person who's spending they driving hours, 10 hours a day on the road listening to Boss Man D-Lo, or the person that's spending those 10 hours a day over the road listening to shit that's educating themselves? In 5 to 10 years, granted that nobody wins the lottery or no one's grandfather dies and leaves them a large lump sum of money behind, they going about things just the normal way in life. Who do you think, based off that scenario, is going to be further ahead in 5 to 10 years? Black people, we don't educate. We consume the dumbest shit in the world. They feed us this shit purposely. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. I'm telling you, it's a distraction. So don't fall victim to the distraction. You have more resources than I had when I was in high school, when I was in college. Even in the early part of the 2000s, the internet was still gathering information. The internet today is, listen, for some of y'all probably don't remember, but the internet 25 years ago compared to where, like, there's so much information. I used to go on Lycos and AOL search, and then this is before Google really is what it is today. We use Lycos and AOL search engine, and I would type in certain things and it wouldn't even yield a result. Now you can pretty much type in anything, it's going to yield a result. It's going to give you a tutorial. It's going to tell you how to do it. You're going to find forums. You're going to have people having discussions on this stuff. So I find it odd that people are willing to pay for things that they can just do a simple, basic Google search and find. I'm talking about basic things, not advanced and intermediate things that are going to require some level of mentorship from an individual that has experience doing something. Basic things. It's crazy to me, but this goes back to what I said earlier. You put something in a book, black person, they're gonna look everywhere. They gonna listen. It could be 1,000-pound safe. Hey, buddy, phone them. Come on, help me lift this safe. Let me see if this $1 million check. The book right there. The only thing they gotta do is open the goddamn book and flip through the pages or turn the book upside down and shake it, and the check gonna fall out. They over there trying to lift up 1,000-pound safe to see if the check is under there. Same thing now. Okay, people don't look at books, but they'll go to the information highway, and you got information that's going to better you in life that you need because you just entered into something that you have no knowledge in. But instead of you looking at the information, consuming the valuable information that's going to help you get ahead, you looking at the YouTube videos that's Cardi B and Offset divorce. All right, let's get into the financial literacy, because this is something else that I believe black people we get taken on a ride for. All right, so first of all, you got to understand financial literacy, right? Especially when it comes to business. And this is something I talk about: budgeting, saving, investing, right? When it comes to business, and we talk about this all the time, I always say, listen, starting a business doesn't automatically equate to success. It doesn't. You're going to be broke. Anybody that tells you different, I'm telling you, they capping. If you start a business, you're investing your time, your money, your energy, money that's coming in, you're reinvesting it back into the business. It doesn't equate to, well, I'm finna start a box truck business or a trucking business and I'm finna build generation wealth. It don't happen like that. You're gonna be the brokest at the beginning. If you not, then you're doing something wrong, because the beginning you should be reinvesting everything. You should be doing your most sacrificing. You should be delaying your most gratification. You should be doing your most reinvesting at the beginning. Nobody starts a business that comes from humble beginnings like me with just everything. You just got everything already there. Man, I don't. So what happens is, person get their little business, get their little box truck or their little trucking business. You feel me? They'll start it. They'll come in. They however they got the money to start it up, they invest in it, and then as soon as they start making money, instead of putting that money, putting it in the cut, tucking it, right, reinvesting it, they start spending it. This goes back to the scenario that I talked about. Get it out the mud trucking LLC. You want to let everybody know that you got a business. You take the picture on Instagram, you post it, you sit on top of your rental truck. Listen, if you bragging on a rental truck and you doing like this, and I see budget or rider or enterprise, shame on you. First of all, you getting started, but you ain't there yet. New business owner alert. You got to let everybody know. You go over the road, you start making a little money. As soon as you come home, you got to let everybody know that little money that you factored, you hitting the club, you standing on couches. First, you got to stop at Dior. You got to stop at Dior. You got to stop at Balenciaga. Then you go to the club, you stand on couches, you pop bottles. They come through with the purge. You make sure they put the sign that says, get it out the mud trucking LLC. The bottle chicks is coming through the club with the sign that says, get it out the mud trucking LLC. All the money you just made, you already just put it out. Listen, let me tell you where that money goes. You just spent it in the club. The next morning, you pissing it out. It's gone. Now you back Monday looking for a load to run. The loads that you ran this past week, you didn't even realize you ran them at a loss because you don't even know your cost per mile. Then 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, you coming up on the call-in show talking about where the money at. And then I got to do a deep dive analysis and find out that you've been robbing from the sustainability of your business. Because you ain't budgeted, you ain't saved, you don't understand cash flow. But you bought in a generational wealth. But you don't understand building generational wealth requires investing. But in order to have money left over to invest, you got to budget and save and understand cash flow. How can you invest something when you operating at a loss? You'll never get generational wealth when you don't have the excess money to invest. You still got to live. You still got to live. You still got to pay mortgage, rent. Even if you rent a room, you got to pay whoever you rent the room from. All these things hold priority. The last thing is investing. You have to, that's the last thing, because you got to take care of the priority first. Cash flow in the business. See, we don't understand that. You know why? Because as soon as we get a little money, we got to go out and we got to shit on the next person. So we going to go to the club. We got to let everybody know it's getting out the mud trucking LLC. All right. Then we got to go to the lot. How many Hellcats? Listen, it's so many repossessions right now. It's pathetic. This is the most repossessions ever in American history. It was a lot of Hellcats that popped out. You just started a box truck business. Look how many people went out and bought Hellcats during the pandemic in the box truck space. Do we see these Hellcats today? No, we don't. All right. Here's the thing. You went out and you bought a $90-something thousand car with a brand new business. Not even understanding what you invested in, not even understanding that what you thought was, because you were in a euphoric phase of a bubble, which I tried to explain to you, because you didn't educate yourself. And this is why education is very important. And I know your favorite content creator told you, get ready for peak season, you finna run it up. But I was telling you, this shit finna come to an end, because what goes up must comes down. This is not sustainable. You still renting a box truck. Listen, you come in still renting a box truck. You still got the Penske. You still got the Ryder. But you made your way down to Naples and Dodge or RZA Dodge, and you got you a Hellcat. But getting out the mud trucking LLC is still renting a truck from Ryder, Penske, Budget. What sense does that make? How is it that a brand new business can go out and get a $94,000 Hellcat wide body red eye, but your business doesn't even own any equipment? You're renting. And then you wonder why. So now you robbing from sustainability of the business. You paying $1,800, $1,700 on a car note, plus another $400, $500 for the insurance. Then you paying Penske $1,000 a week, or Ryder $1,000 a week. Now that $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 that you paying on that Hellcat, and another $500, you paying over $2,000 for you on a personal with a brand new business, and that money could be reinvested back into the business. You need to be coming out of that rental. I know your favorite content creator said, man, get a rental truck. It's going to be better for you. But how? I done proved to you for the past however many years I've been on YouTube, but that's not in the best interest. Yes, if that's how you have to come in, then so be it. But you need to have a plan to transition out of that rental truck into a truck that you own, so that you can increase your profit margin. You're buying that truck for Penske. You're buying that truck for Ryder. You're buying that truck for Enterprise. You're buying that truck for Budget. Well, I don't want to have to pay for the maintenance. That's a myth. How are you not paying for the maintenance? You're absolutely 100% paying for the maintenance in a rental truck. No, I'm not. I just take it back there and then they fix it, or they give me. Listen, if you paying $1,000-something a week, when you pay for the mileage and whatever your weekly, you're 100%. Listen, you're recouping the cost that they pay for that truck wholesale, because they buying the trucks a lot cheaper than you. You know why? Because they calling international, they calling freight line, they calling Hinu, and they ordering them. They saying, yo, we need 20, we need 100, or we need 200, or however many they order, 2025s, we need this many of them. They buying them by the volume. They're not paying the same price you paying. When you're renting a truck, that truck is paying for itself in every single facet. The maintenance is baked into what you paying. You don't think, listen, this is a $1 billion business. They got smart people that say, listen, every so many miles, this is going to break on this truck. Every so many miles, this is going to happen. Every so many miles, this is going to happen. Every so many miles, we're going to get a PM. We know that this particular manufacturer, this truck, after this many miles, this goes wrong. They know what the cost is. They bake it into the cost of the rental. The whole purpose of the truck rental business is to make money off the rental truck. The truck pays for itself in every single facet. But when I tell you that, you want to say, well, because somebody over here with a bigger platform that started 4 years ago, 3 years ago, is telling that you're going to make an exorbitant amount of money with a piece of equipment that you don't own, that you never gonna own because you renting, you gonna run it up, and then you get mad, and I get screenshots of y'all going into their comment section denouncing them after 2-3 years when you saw that it wasn't true, when the information is right in front of you when you do your own due diligence. This is why I say you need to educate yourself. How can a person that's renting a truck make more than a person that owns their own equipment? Even if the person goes out and buys a truck at an exorbitant amount of money, and they, by the grace of God, pay for it after 4 or 5 years, it's over with. So now that $1,500 or $1,800 or $2,000, whatever they were paying a month, that that lowers their cost per mile because now that's not a payment that they have to pay anymore. The truck is theirs. Whatever little mechanical incidents that happen over the course of time that are going to happen regardless, okay, we'll deal with it. But if I don't have a mechanical breakdown for 8 months or 9 months or 12 months, then that's $2,000 less than I'm paying a month. That's money that's being saved that can be reinvested back into the company that can acquire another piece of equipment. This is why it's important to educate yourself, because you'll believe stuff that don't even make sense. And then you wonder why you're not saving money, why your business is not being profitable. Because you don't have a plan to increase your cash flow. You're comfortable with throwing money out the window because you ain't took the time to educate yourself. So in order to build this generational wealth, you have to continue to lower your margins, increase your profit margin, lower your operational costs, so that after you cash flow the business, you pay yourself, right? So that you can cover your living, whatever that may be. And if you're a smart business owner, you're going to decrease your living so that you can build your business, so that you can transition out of things like rental trucks into equipment that you own, so that your margin does increase, so that you do have money left over to invest into other things that can ultimately get you this generational wealth that they promote. All right. So that's the investing and the wealth building. Now there's other things that, your box truck business, once you get to that point, you have that money left over where your business is investing into these things, or you're paying yourself enough because the business is successful at this point where you're doing it from an individual perspective, or you're doing it from both. Your business is just so, in the black that, you're going to have your business acquire things. You may acquire other businesses. You may invest, your business may invest into things. It's like I always say, listen, whenever I was running for a publicly traded company, I would invest in that company. If I'm running for XPO, I'm absolutely 100% going to own some shares of XPO. I want to be making money coming and going. If I'm running a contract for JB Hunt, listen, I need a piece of that. I want to double dip. I'm going to buy, my company is going to own it. My company is going to have shares of that. I'm not going to go out and do what's not in the best interest of my business or me. It always leads back, and this is very, very important for black people. This is why black businesses, that life expectancy is short. We got to get out of the mind frame of, business equals ball out. It takes a long time for you to get to that point. If you immediately balling out, you tweaking, you tripping. Something wrong with you. You tweaking. You doing it wrong. Listen, all those guys I seen with the Hellcats that was still in rental trucks during the pandemic, or even still today, man, listen. And you think that shit cool. What's cool about renting a box truck but then owning a Hellcat? Why wouldn't I go out and buy a truck? And here we are today. The highest repossessions ever. The highest credit deficit ever. All right, let's talk about these side hustles. Side hustles are good, but that's exactly what they are, side hustles. You can't build a business on something that was designed to be a side hustle. Let's just keep it a buck. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. A lot of people that come out here, they get a box truck here, and I give you the blueprint. These gig apps are to supplement something that you have that's dedicated. You can't run a box truck business off something that's designed to be supplemental. If you are getting into the business, you got to be all in. So over the road, listen, OTR, if anybody doesn't know, because believe it or not, there's people that have come up on the show and I'll be like, you should try to go OTR. And they're like, what's OTR? What's that? That are already in the business or just got their truck and want to come to me so I can hold their hand, which I'm not finna do. I'm not finna, don't come to me for nothing that's Googleable. So OTR means over the road. Listen, when you get a box truck to go over the road, then that's what it means, over the road. Bye-bye, not home. For the unforeseeable future. If you want to maximize your earning potential with a box truck OTR, then that means you need to be over the road. If you're in a market that doesn't yield an exorbitant amount of outbound freight, then you need to position yourself in a market that does, which may put you farther out over the road. This is something you decided to do. You didn't do your due diligence. This is why it goes back to the beginning, and it's why we started at the beginning of the live stream with education. Education is going to make you dangerous. I'm dangerous, man. It's going to make you smart. It's going to put you in a position to win. It's going to put you in a better position to compete, because I'm going to let the cat out the bag. A lot of your competition ain't educating themselves, especially us. Man, we ain't educating ourselves. We too busy worried about standing on somebody's couch, popping some bottles, fucking another nigga's bitch, right? Doing donuts where the car meet up at tonight, taking our tags off the car and ordering a tag offline that says don't chase, and then getting the 360 camera, putting it on the back windshield, and tempting the police to chase us. What else? So if you coming into business and you black, and there's a lot of black people in that business, I'm telling you how to, listen, this is your biggest, I'm telling you, this is the biggest, educate yourself. Because majority, I'm keeping it a buck, and it's a goddamn shame, but they not going to do it. They ain't going to do it. Why you think I dare people to debate me? Why you think I'm trying to bait somebody to debate me? Because I'm 100% confident I'm going to win. You know why? Because I got the experience and I got the education. This is why I can get up here and be cocky when it comes to that. Because I know I'm dangerous. I'm telling you how to win, but you don't do it. You worry about fucking another nigga bitch. Why you paying $1,000 a week with a goddamn rental truck for the past year? You already done bought the truck. You already done bought your own truck. You done spent $50-some thousand in rental fees. You worried about fucking another nigga bitch. Tonight you gonna be worried about fucking another nigga bitch. Last night you was worried. You came off the road to go fuck another nigga bitch. But then Tuesday, when I do the call-in show, you're gonna be calling up here talking about, man, I don't know where the money at. Am I lying? Or is it the truth? A whole year and a half, you still in a rental truck. So to the brother that's listening, to the sister that's listening, listen, this is what you do. Continue to educate yourself. I'm telling you, educate yourself, consume information that's in your best interest majority of the day. Spend a little time on bullshit. And I guarantee you're going to see yourself going up and to the right. You're going to fly past all the competition because they not doing this shit. They refuse to do it. All right, next. I told you I'm not finna be here long. I'm not finna be here long. All right. And this is something that, you know, saying this is with our community, man. Listen, working together, listen, this is something we need to do. This is something we need to work on. But listen, you know, listen, and I'm keeping it a buck with you. See, I can talk about this shit. Listen, we are the biggest haters of amongst ourselves. We like crabs in a barrel. You got to help each other out. A big reason why our community falls behind a lot of other communities and demographics is because I see other people helping each other out. I see the Asians do it. They have a system. They come over here, they invest, they build a business. They come over here with a business already in place. Why? Because the people that came over here before them, they are forced to invest into a pot to bring other people over here so that they can already be set up with a business. The Arabs do it. The Arabs is kind of like us in a sense, but they do have their own network. The Jews do it. I see the Indians do it. And these are the Indians, they're the ones coming over here and getting a lot of the engineering jobs on a free ride. And you talking about over $100,000 that you don't want to do because Fodenham told you could run it up with a trucking business. But whatever, I digress. You don't stick together. We hate. As soon as we see somebody else doing better, instead of us going and tapping in like, man, can you show me? Nah, we want to hate. So you see one person come up and then here comes some more brothers trying to pull that brother down. Or it goes back to what I said, you worried about fucking another nigga bitch. It's all things to hurt your fellow person who looks just like you. People ask me all the time, man, Mark, why you get so much free information on the internet? A lot of information you give is valuable. Because I'm doing my part. But it comes with hate. Look at the hate that I get amongst my peers in the space. And I don't give a fuck. Keep hating. Oh, Mark, you fucking it up for us. You fucking up the money. That's why I keep doing it. Keep saying dumb shit. I'm gonna keep fucking up your money. You ain't gonna be able to sell a goddamn mentorship to nobody because I'm gonna give the game away for free. You know why? because it don't make me no never mind. I'm doing my part. But people don't even want to see you do that. The reason why other communities get ahead is because they build each other up. They don't seek, if I know something and I can pass it on to the generation under me so that they can come up so we can build a community up, then that's what you're supposed to do. When you look in our community, everybody owns shit in our community except us. Go to the gas station, the people that working and they brown, but they not this kind of brown. You go to your local corner stores, they brown. They ain't this kind of brown. You go get your nails done, who's in there? You go to other communities, you go to their communities, Chinatown, Koreatown. I don't see us working there. I don't see us owning businesses in there. And this ain't, I'm talking to my people so you can put this shit into perspective. You go to Jewtown, Greektown, all these places, whatever towns, it's their people in their community that own business in their community. They own their own general merchandise stores, they own their own liquor stores, they own their own beauty supply, their own restaurants. You come into our communities, everybody but us. I wonder why. I can tell you why. For every single bullet point that I talked about prior to this one, from the education to the financial perspective to now the community perspective, building each other up. We're not willing to give people the information. We want to sell it to them or mislead them and make it seem like we know what we're talking about when we don't, because we know that once people in the community find out that a lot of people in the community ain't going to do what's in the best interest for them, which is educating themselves, they prey on that. They know they don't know what the fuck, so they go out and they go to Fiverr and they buy a course on trucking or box trucking. Then they repackage it with their branding on it and sell it to you. And then when you go ask them questions, they can't answer them for you, or they give you the wrong answer. You see what I'm saying? Because they preying on your ignorance. One thing that they know is they know that this community ain't educated and refuse to educate themselves, so they prey on that ignorance. Or when they see a person who does have the knowledge that is thriving and growing, they try to pull them down. Instead of trying to go get the information so they can build themselves up, or the people who know the information, who are in that upward and to the right trajectory, refuse to give it out because they in fear of somebody else surpassing them, because they want to be the top dog. They want to stay the top dog. I want to be the guy in the community with the Rolls Royce, with the bad chick, that has the social status that everybody talks about. And I know I got the information, and it's people, man, put me on. But I ain't gonna put them on because one of these guys is gonna have it. But I want to stay the top dog, so I refuse to get the information out. You know what they call that? They call it gatekeeping. But here, I can give you the information, not gatekeep. Come up here, hold people accountable, tear them down, build them up, give you all the information that you take to win. But it goes back to what I said at the beginning, the education, that's not something that you want to consume, Black people. But supporting our own community and leaders in our community, as far as from a business perspective, I think is key. Even down to when you go into a brick and mortar and you go into a black-owned beauty supply. And here's a black-owned beauty supply as a person who's invested into a brick and mortar. They're ordering products. They got one store, and you complain that their hair dye number 95 jet black or whatever it is $1.50 more, $2 more than the Korean one down the street. Well, I'm gonna tell you why that is. Because the Korean one has a network. They all putting in the pot together so that they can get their wholesale costs lower. This black person has to fend for themselves. So because they have one store, we don't have a black community network where we can order things and have our own distribution within our community. That one black beauty supply is only ordering the merchandise to fulfill that one store. And because they're not ordering in volume, they have to pay a higher unit cost. So you get mad not understanding business because you ain't educated yourself to understand, and you just automatically assume they trying to get over. No, it's their wholesale cost is more. The Arabs do it too. They do it here in Chicago. It's a store here. I'm not going to say the name. They got a few locations. They one of the old mom and pop Arab urban stores, right? They still got a Nike contract. A lot of stores got their Nike contract and their Jordan contract taken away. There's another urban store here that has one still too. You know what? They order in bulk and then they distribute to the other Asian urban fashion stores, and the Arabs do the same thing. They have their own distribution network. If I'm an Arab store and I'm new, I'm just starting, I can't get a Nike contract. Nike's not going to give me an account. They're not. They stopped that years ago. So I got to go through this company that's been in business 40 years on the west side of Chicago that still has a good rapport and they still have their Nike account. And then I got to buy wholesale from them. We don't have that. So the black business owner with the one beauty supply store, when he goes to Johnson or whatever these hair places are called, manufacturers that sell hair dye and shit like that, and weave and all that stuff, they're only buying enough units for that store. So their unit wholesale price is going to be higher. I'm going to get a better price if I say, listen, I need 250 units of this versus the person who's saying, man, I only need a 12 units. I can leverage and negotiate a cheaper per unit wholesale cost because I'm buying more volume of it. We don't have a distribution network because we can't work together. All these bullet points that I talked about contribute to why we are behind. And somebody's still going to come in here and hate, which proves my point. I ain't said shit wrong. Proves my point. I haven't said nothing wrong. What have I said wrong? We are our biggest enemy. We are the reason why we're behind for every single bullet point that I just talked about. Stop falling into the dumb bullshit. be more responsible from an education perspective, whether you want to do entrepreneurship or career based. Educate yourself and not spending a bunch of money investing into an education, something that's not going to yield results once you graduate. Don't enter into an industry that you don't take the time to educate yourself on. Understand and have financial responsibility when you do enter into entrepreneurship or a work field. Stop going out doing all this dumb stuff. Listen, I'm going to continue to hold you accountable. You do dumb stuff, I'm going to hold you accountable. See, the people that are cool, they not finna tell you this because they don't know it themselves. Because the same marketing tools that you go out and do when you get your box truck, when you go get the Hellcat and you rent a box truck, this is the same shit that they use to yield you and wield you in to buying it, whatever it is they selling. A lot of information that you buy is free. The only thing a person can really mentor you on is things that are experienced from an intermediate and advanced level. The basic beginning general stuff on setting up as far as your structuring your business, your getting the proper licenses and authority to operate your trucking business. Stuff is like, why would you pay for that? You a fool. Listen, you a fool. Because you ain't educating yourself. And that's why I started it with that. Because if you don't have that at the top, then everything that I talked about under that, you ain't gonna get it. You ain't gonna know how to be financially responsible. You'll never get cost per mile. You'll never get the fact that operation costs. You're gonna continue to say dumb shit like renting a truck is better than owning a truck. You're not going to be responsible enough to delay your gratification to transition out of that rental truck. You're not going to be mentally capable of understanding that, it's imperative that I know what my operational costs are. I'm running a fucking business. You ain't going to know when you being deceived. You ain't going to be able to tell the forest from the trees. You ain't going to understand that the only way to get generational wealth is from starting. Like, you can get generational wealth. Somebody wanted to, and he's a good guy, listen, generational wealth is not what you guys think. See, a lot of people think generational wealth is riches. Listen, if your parent dies and they leave you a paid off piece of property, that's a form of generational wealth. Generational wealth doesn't equate solely to rich and richer than rich. If your mother dies or your father dies or your grandparent dies and they leave you a property and that property is paid off, then that's a form of generational wealth. That's just what it is. If the people who died before you didn't have a pot to piss in and a window to throw out and they died and they didn't leave you nothing, then you don't have any generational wealth. If they own stocks and real estate and they leave it to you, generational wealth. Your form of generational wealth or your inheritance from being the beneficiary of the person who passed and left you this, and the next person's inheritance that was left behind is going to be different. But they're both forms of generational wealth. If my parent passes and they own a real estate portfolio, a stock portfolio, cash, and just other assets that equate to, let's say, $7 or $8 million, and your parent or something passes and they leave you in the will and they just leave you one building that's worth $500,000, they're both generational wealth. It's just one generational wealth is more than the other. This person is richer because this person's invested more aggressively and left more behind. But they're both forms of generational wealth. Because the prior generation passed down something to the next generation that was an asset. And that's generational wealth. But we come in, you see people, oh, why you wanna start your box truck business? Oh man, because I want to break the curse and build generational wealth. But what's your cost per mile? I've had somebody actually say, well, what's that? Somebody was up in operation. I forget whether they were in a cargo van or a box truck. And I said, what's your cost per mile? What's that? But you came on my show talking about this smart shit, generational wealth, and you don't even know what your operational cost is. What does it lead back to? The first bullet point that I talked about, educate. Now you coming up here looking like a goddamn fool. And I'm making you look like a fool, not even on purpose. I've never met a successful dumb business owner. You can't be successful and dumb. All right, let's talk about things we got to stop doing. All right, I just gave you a list of things that we got to do as far as working together, financial responsibility, educating yourself. Let's talk about things we got to stop doing. And then I got to get out of here. I wrote them down. Break away from these stereotypes. And I just talked about a lot of them. You already know what the stereotypes are, Black people. Do the opposite of them. I just gave you a list of them. The things that I said we need to start doing, those are a lot of stereotypes. We don't read. We don't educate. We're ignorant when it comes to finances. We are. We hate on each other. We do. Break away from the stereotypes. Help your fellow brother out or your fellow sister out. Give them information. Help educate them. It's not gonna hurt you. If you are him or you are her and that person see me, I know I'm him. Ain't nothing, me giving you information ain't gonna stop my motion. It ain't. Because I know how to get it. Got it already. So it's not gonna stop my motion. This is why I can say I'm him. Because I know how to get it, and I know I'm gonna pass you the information so that you can go out and do what's in the best interest for you. And I'm giving it to you for the free ski. This is why I can say that. Me giving you information and over a period of time, if you surpass me, that's great. I'm not upset about that. I don't care. So we gotta avoid these negative stereotypes by doing what's in the best interest for us. Stop being financially irresponsible. We kind of talked about that already. I'm not going to go into a deep dive, but I always talk about living beyond the means. We do that. I was once guilty of it myself too, until I had to grow up and break away from it. Right? I didn't have anybody to tell me, yo, I'm glad I figured it out early. I figured it out before I started my business. By the time I was 30, when I started my business, when I was hustling, you see what I'm saying? Working out of my pickup truck, hustling, I had already been through the financial I had already been financially irresponsible in my 20s to the point that now I got this thing that I'm building. Listen, I can't be financially irresponsible because I got people that are dependent on me. I can't go out and jag the money off and then be the guy. Listen, there's a lot of black people in the black community that got businesses, then they workers is complaining about them on the internet. They go to work all week and then payday come around. They ain't got the money to pay them because they at the casino jagging the money off at the casino. They got the Bentley outside because you know how black people, especially when you got a brick and mortar, a lot of these restaurants they got to put the Bentley out front. They got to get the Wraith, the Lambo truck. You got to park it out front, right in the front in the handicap spot. And this is what's robbing from the sustainability of the business because you on the new, you still owe a lot of people. You still owe the vendors. You got one restaurant down there talking about the vendors ain't got paid in months. But the owner got a fleet of cars. How is this possible? Stop accumulating debt. Lower your costs, lower your expenses. All right. We talked about the crab mentality. I'm not going to go into that. Here's something that we need to stop doing. Excuses. And I kind of touched on this yesterday. Complacency and excuses. A lot of people make excuses for their ignorance. Listen, and I'm going to pertain to trucking. All right. I want to just keep this example on trucking. And I say it all the time. The whole cheap freight debate. You know why I keep leaning on people with this cheap freight and I do that shit on purpose? It's because it's an excuse. And I proved that it's an excuse because everybody that says that shit doesn't know their cost per mile. They don't know what they don't know what it costs them to operate their business. So the reason that they give for failing, instead of doing a deep dive analysis on their business and educating themselves and trying to go back and retrace and backtrack on why their business is failing, they just say, oh man, yeah, it's messed up out here because they taking cheap freight. That's an excuse, fam. I don't give a fuck what nobody tell you. 15,000. It's up. Come debate it. It's an excuse. You put yourself in that situation. You had nobody to blame. Every single person that I've asked that has said this dumbass shit, what's your cost per mile? They don't know it. How can you make an excuse and blame something on somebody else that you don't know? Y'all still ain't told me who these people are. They, who is they that keep taking this cheap freight that y'all keep talking about? Who are they? Where are they at? So we can go find them, so I can bring them on the show and we can talk to them and ask them, why are they doing these things to y'all? But y'all don't know who they are, so y'all make the excuse they, but you don't know what it costs for you to operate your equipment. So it's an excuse. You can't make an excuses and place blame on an imaginary group of people when you don't even know what it costs to operate your business. You may be they. You might be the they. You know why? Because you don't even know what it costs you to operate your business. So you in that category, pimp. I don't get it. Who is these people? Where are they at? I don't get it. Complacency. We saw this a lot in 2022. I was telling people what to do. Man, you might want to move around. You can do moving. You can start a licensed moving company. You can do local work, curbside. All these OTR people started to complain when things started to shift, which I told y'all was going to start to shift. But when things started to shift and y'all thought the shit that y'all was dealing with in 2020, 2021 was going to last forever, and I started telling people about these local opportunities, y'all laughed. Y'all made fun of me. Y'all cracked jokes, this and that and the third. I'm OTR. Ain't nobody finna be doing all this and lifting and all. Look how many people doing moving now. Damn, I wish I listened to you. Yeah, this moving money different, man. It's different. Oh, this some different money, man. Damn, I wish I would. Yeah, I finally listened 2 years later. I wish I would have listened to you 2 years ago. Man, Mark, you right, man. I found me a local contract, man. I'm making $800,000 a day. I get to sleep on my beard at night. I'm doing less maintenance on my truck. Da-da-da-da. But you wanted to fight it. You wanted to fight it. Why? Because you was complacent. You didn't want to take the chance on change. You didn't want to transition. I told you business is about transition. Sometimes you got to transition. I also told you about forecasting. I've been forecasting since I done my channel. You got to see what lies ahead. You got to be able to read what lies ahead. It's your business to steer your business in the right direction. You see the storm brewing. You see the tornado starting to pick up. You looking out in the field and you see it starting to spin. And what you gonna do? You just gonna sit there and wait for it to come tear your shit up, or you gonna move around? If there's other opportunities out there where you can make money, you have a piece of equipment, then you got, even with the OTR people, you complacent. You live in the Southeast. Oh man, I ain't coming up to the Midwest, man. Snow up there, and bro, you bought a truck. You got to meet the needs of the business. If meeting the needs of the business is moving the truck to a better location where you can make money, then that's what you got to do. That's part of business. Listen, we have a ever-growing Hispanic population coming into the America. You see burger joints selling tacos now. If burger joints can implement tacos and south of the border meals and southwestern salads and shit into they menu, which they never did before when they just had a basic American menu of hot dogs, burgers, and french fries, it's a reason why they're implementing south of the border entrees onto their menu now, because there's an ever-growing south of the border population coming into the United States. So if these businesses and these different industries are having to adapt, what makes you think with your little one funky ass box truck that you ain't got to? See, ain't nobody gonna tell you this. They ain't gonna kick it to you like this. I'm kicking it to you like you was one of my homies. This is how we talk to each other. This is how my homies, listen, when we gotta hold each other up, we gonna hear the whining for a minute. Hey, man, listen, I ain't trying to hear all that shit, bro. Listen, you got the truck, man. Get your lazy ass out there and move around, bro. Fuck all this shit you talk. I ain't trying to hear that shit, man. Go to where the money is at, bro. You need some help getting there? You need me to float you something? What you need? I'm gonna help you get there, but I ain't trying to hear all this goofy ass shit you talking about, bro. Take your lazy, man. Hey, man, I ain't trying to hear it. I'm talking to you like you one of the guys. Because I ain't trying to tell you now. I don't really give a goddamn if you... It is what it is. I'm not telling you nothing wrong. You got OTR, but, oh, man, I ain't coming up. If you know the Midwest is where the freight at, and you from the Southeast, or you from the South, or you from that region right in between the Midwest and the West Coast, Idaho, goddamn Nebraska, New Mexico, all that shit over there, man, you got to move around, pimp. You can't be complacent. You got to go where the bread is at. You got to go where the opportunity is at. It's your job to meet the needs of the business owner. Like, you got to build the business. The business ain't going to build itself. See, they didn't tell you you was going to do more work than working a job. They just said, start this business. It's 5 steps. Yeah, hit the link below. I'm going to show you how to do these 5 steps. You're going to come in. I'm going to show you how to make this 6-7 figure box truck business with renting a truck. And then you do that, right? And then you come in and, damn, this is different, man. Ain't no loads. They take a cheap freight. See, no, this is the real deal. You know why? Because ain't shit easy. Listen, anything that yields success at the end is not easy. I know they told you, but you fell for the okie doke. You know better than that person walking down the Las Vegas Strip and you see the chick paying 3-card Monte and she steady winning and they make it look easy. And then they tell you to come try and you put up $5 and they let you win. And then they put up $10 and then they let you win because you saw the little white lady was winning. You don't know because you from Middle America. See me, I see the bra. Oh, she a clucker all the way. They clucks. You can't even tell that these people are clucks. And then you pay the $10 and then, man, go ahead and put the 100 up when we giving money away. He got a roll of money in it. You just saw the cluck white lady win. You can't tell she a fiend, man. She got all this shit on because you Middle America. You don't know no better. You don't see all this. She a fiend. And you fell for the okie doke, and as soon as you put that hundo up, his face went from a smile to a serious face. His face turned stone cold on your goofy ass. And then you seen them motherfuckers moving that shit faster than motherfucker. Where's that, pimp? You pick that shit up. Nope, it's right over here. Boom, give me that $100. And they gone on your goofy ass. This is how you is when you tap into that shit. You a victim. You victimizing yourself because you're not putting yourself in the best position to win. It ain't just the fact that you bought into something that you didn't have to buy into. You victimizing your own self by not putting yourself in a position to win, not doing what's in your best interest, not meeting the needs of the business that you started. You want the results at the end, but you're not willing to put in the work. Goes back to education, coupled with this complacency shit, and then all these excuses. It's your fault you went out and you spent this exorbitant amount. Nobody else's. If somebody told you to do that you went to, then that's your fault because you invested into the wrong leadership and guidance. Because that shit makes absolutely no sense. You have nobody to blame but yourself. It's your business. You have to hold yourself responsible for every single decision your business makes. Anybody that tells me they taking cheap freight, I look at you a certain way. When content creators say that shit, I look at them a certain type of way because anybody that's selling education shouldn't be on the internet complaining about somebody. Listen, if you put yourself in a position where you create a channel and you supposed to be somebody important that people look up to, the last thing that you should be sitting on a public platform doing is placing the blame on somebody. And people don't even have common enough sense to realize that. You consuming information from somebody that's on a public platform that you look up to as a leader and they saying they taking cheap freight. Anybody that I've seen that's ever been a leader or just a strong, powerful individual in anything from sports to whatever, politics, somebody that I deem a strong leader, never placed the blame. They always held themselves responsible. If I'm a person that's a leader and people are coming to me to consume and have to act as such, I never saw Mike place the blame. Even if shit wasn't his fault. He took it on the chin because he's the leader of the team. It's your, listen, you made that decision. So you got to deal with it. Business owner, black or not. Educate yourself better and you will make less mistakes. But when mistakes happen, you have to own up to them because you made them. You can't be a successful business owner at scale and have employees under you and you walking around the office all day blaming other people. They're going to look at you as weak. Then they're going to start trying to take advantage of you. Because you running around complaining all day about some shit that you made the decision for. everything that I talked about today is things that I feel like we as black people, because majority of my subscriber base is black. I know I got people of all ethnicities, but the majority of the people that subscribe to my channel are black, whether they're black from a different country, Jamaican, Haitian, Black American, African American, whatever. Majority of the people are black. This is something that I felt needed to, be said. Some people are going to consume it in a positive way. Some people are going to not understand it. But everything that I said is a roadmap for you to win as an entrepreneur or a person who doesn't take an entrepreneurial path in life. You go the career path, These are just things that you need to do to win. You know what I'm saying? These are things that we're not doing as a community. All right. So I don't want to take any questions. I just want you to absorb it. If you liked what I said today, the only thing I ask is hit the like button, and people don't even do that. So at the end of the day, my final thoughts is just do better. Do what's in your best interest. Hopefully the information that I gave you today, was value to somebody. I'm going to do what's in my best interest. I'm going to continue to help the people that want to consume the good information. And until the next time, I'm out.